Hello, City Skylines fans. I'm Sockside, and welcome back finally to Lake Sockside. If you follow us on our Discord, you know that I took a break from YouTube, was feeling pretty burnt out. I took a break from City Skylines altogether and have been playing some different games and streaming some different games. But we're getting back to City Skylines. We did a lot of thinking over, or I did a lot of thinking over the last month or so of why I haven't been enjoying City Skylines. And if you've watched the progression of this channel over the last 9 months or so, you know the gameplay style or the way we're playing the game has changed. We started just doing basic vanilla with some mods and some no detail really. Then we transitioned to trying to build a replica of Phoenix, and I hated it. I didn't enjoy it at all. And then we jumped into Lake Sockside, and I didn't let the burnout from trying to build Phoenix go away enough. And I started to build another high detailed city, just focusing on a lot of detail and trying to push it above, honestly, my skill level on City Skylines, and got away from what really makes the game enjoyable to me. And that's what we're getting back to. We're gonna play the game a little bit more vanilla. I say that, but it's not. It's, you know, we're gonna care about the budget. We're gonna care about the people's needs. We're gonna care about all of those things. Unfortunately, with this city, I didn't want to throw it away. I did want to finish Lake Sockside and keep building it because I was enjoying where it was going. But I didn't enjoy the way we're playing it. Our budget's out of whack. It's not realistic. I don't like that aspect of the game. It's not for me. I'm not other YouTubers. I'm myself, so we're gonna stay true to that and play the game the way that I enjoy it, because I think that'll make better content and it'll make cities nicer and better. I took a look back at Socktown or Sockville. I can't remember which one it was, what their names were, but the first series on YouTube that we did, and that city came out gorgeous. I loved it. It's probably my favorite city I've ever built, and I kind of started thinking about why. I was more focused on road layout, building the city as it needed to grow, instead of trying to be someone that I'm not. So, on to what we're doing right now. You can see we're trying to do a few tricks to get the budget under control, to see if we can get to a positive budget number without exploiting the game. We play around with it for a while. I didn't want to lose this city, and I did want to go back to playing with real money, with real budgets, and so I tried to do some in-game things to get there. You can see we increased the taxes all the way up. It didn't cut it. It didn't get us all the way there. At this point, we had to make sure we took care of our negative balance before the game, you know, said we lost. So Move It has a little trick. You can copy some expensive buildings, delete them right away, and you get some money back. Again, the only reason why I'm doing this is to get us back into a state where we can start growing the city and getting it back to a normal style of playthrough. I went a little overboard, and we get close to, I think, 500,000 before we end this little time lapse here. You can see, but it gets us where we're going, so we can move forward and start building out new things and improve the city. Get the budget under control, and that's pretty much the main focus of this episode. We're gonna get that budget to the positive. We're gonna do a little bit of detailing in the areas that we're building, but for the most part, this is gonna be a catch-up episode, getting us set up for the rest of this series. And here we're starting to build a little industry area. It kind of looks like a little dipper, or Big Dipper, little shape there. But let me know what you think about this road layout. It's completely different than some stuff I've done in the past. But yeah, so we're gonna focus on getting that budget under control, get the city back where we want it, get everybody's needs caught up as far as police, fire, trash, all of those good things in this episode, and then we'll keep on progressing. So I wanted to get some industry laid down. You can see in our demands, let's take a step back. One thing I forgot to mention was I also re-enabled realistic population. I love playing that way. My favorite cities have been built with the realistic population mod enabled, so we went back to that. So you're gonna see the numbers and the demands fluctuate a lot while the game catches up to that. And so right now I know that once that catch up happens, that industry demand is going to skyrocket. So we also needed some trash. Probably went a little overboard with the recycle and dump station. We'll revisit that long term, but again, I was also trying to get the the budget under control, so to say. You know, we've mentioned probably 10 times already in this episode, but you'll see, you know, the demands are going really crazy as the houses recalculate themselves to be a realistic population style. And then we just start laying down a bunch of industry here. My thought process was, let's spread out the industry so that when we come back to it and do some detailing, we can add a lot of parking, some, you know, custom parking lots, some details around the outside of it. And I wanted those buildings to be spread out so that there was room for those things. Later on in the episode, you're going to see that we don't really finish this area because, going back to the things that I really liked about some previous cities that I built, there's some assets that I want to download and get back into my collection. So you're going to see us using some of the, you know, roads to build parking lots like we have been doing recently. The main thing I want to bring back is the ploppable parking lots. And so I did want to finish this episode and get this going and get us back on a good cadence of YouTube videos. So I decided to finish this episode without doing that, knowing that we'll have to come back and revisit it later. But again, you can see that the industry demand has now skyrocketed, so we're trying to take care of that and starting to balance it out. So this episode, I think by the end of the episode, we do get caught up with the realistic population adjusting and getting everything up to speed or up to current and get the demands under control. And we eventually do get that budget number under control. We're still about negative 1,000 a week, but it's getting there, a lot closer. So I was taking a look at the budget there, and at this point I decided to add a little bit of commercial to this industry area, which I feel is very realistic and very natural for a large industry area. People need to get gas, they need to take lunch breaks, they need places to eat. So we did that in this area to kind of balance out. You can see right now our demand is industry and commercial, and right here we're kind of flying around trying to fix the electricity issue, and I decided, you know what, let's increase the budget. And seeing that clip, I don't think we increased the nighttime budget. Oh, we did. Okay, so we got them both taken care of. Again, we're kind of playing back and forth at this point around 1,000 negative and playing around with the demands so that we can get multiple incomes up. Like, most of our income is residential. We got to get that commercial and industry income to increase to get us closer to where we need to be. And at this point, again, we're fighting with the 900 range or 1,000 range, and realize we should probably take care of some of the police needs because we're losing people instead of gaining population at this point because some of their needs are not satisfied. I gotta be honest, it took a little while to get used to playing this way. I haven't paid attention to the needs. I don't, what's the other word for that? I feel like I'm saying needs a lot. I guess word of the day is probably going to be needs. But yeah, so we got back into place with that. And in this first segment, I didn't really care about how it looked. I just wanted to lay down a starting section of this parking lot and we got the police force laid down. We move it around a little bit, and then we had the fire department as well. Later on in the episode, we do come back, clean up this parking lot, detail it a little bit. So this area does get complete by the end of this episode. Doesn't take a genius to realize when you add more services, that's going to cost more money. So you can see we're back to we were around 2,000 negative, but because we started having less crime and satisfied fire support, people started moving back into the city. Our population started growing, which means more income. So we start getting that balance. For this area, you can see I'm not plopping the residential down anymore. I did create a district. I do have a custom theme that are only the big suburb assets. So we did zone that, and we're gonna let that come in, and then we're kind of taking a peek at watching this income increase. You know, we were floating around 1,000 for a while. Now we're floating around 1,500, but we're seeing our demands fluctuate and the residential's coming back in because of the industry that we added and some of the commercial. Again, the game's trying to balance it out because of the switch over to realistic population. Should be pretty much up to speed at this point. So we keep adding what the game is telling us we need, and at this point it was a little more industry. So we're adding in some more roads in here to keep the separation of the buildings. Again, I didn't want to put all of them right on top of each other so that we have that opportunity to detail this area like we want to eventually in the next episode. But you can see this is also helping with the population as more industry comes in, the industry demand's going up, we're adding more industry, and in turn, that's causing the residential demand to increase. So it's getting us closer, and now we can see we're back down to under 1,000 negative, starting to turn that corner and get really close to being a profitable city again, and really hit the main goal of this episode, as I mentioned in the beginning. I also did a little different editing style with this video. You're gonna see 99% of what I'm doing in this build. I didn't edit a lot of the gameplay out, and that's kind of how I did the earlier videos as well. I really enjoy showing the entire process and not hiding a lot of it. There's some things that might be boring, and we'll find the balance in between those as we move on and get deeper into this build. You can see we're at negative 400 balance now, and we're getting so much closer. But as we build more buildings and have more people come in, we had to turn on a few more turbines, or yeah, a few more of the wind turbines to get more electricity. We came over here and realized we have these ones that are very expensive. So we got rid of the water turbines and added just the regular wind ones. And those pretty much did the trick at that point. We flipped it to the positive after the balance updates here. You can see we're at 200, trending the right direction. I think we had to wait for a few more people to come in to the city. I think I spoke too soon, but that got us a lot closer. That put us from negative 400 all the way to negative 240 right now. And we just kind of wait for the game to do its thing. You can see people are still in the positive. We still have people moving in. Not very many, but realistic population does slow that down with the low density housing that we're in right now. And so we're kind of taking a peek at all of the needs. You can see there's some dead bodies. We're making sure everyone's happy. City happiness is much higher than it was when we started the episode. But we still have a huge industry demand, so we're going to take care of that. And at this point, I'm a little bit questioning the realistic population part of this, because I kind of feel like there's a huge demand for industry, and if I remember correctly, you get over that hurdle at the beginning of the game, and then industry isn't as important later on, especially when we start adding in some of the industry DLC builds as we do later on. You can see getting so much closer to that budget being good. We're under 200 negative. We had this extra section that I was not planning on adding in this episode, but this is the one that eventually does put us over that hurdle of getting to a positive budget. Adding in some industry here, which again, wasn't really planning this, so this area doesn't get finished, doesn't really get detailed at all in this episode. The original industry area does, as you'll see later on. But right now we're about to hit that magical number, floating around negative $30. Now 50, and it's kind of playing with us. Back and forth, the anticipation, people moving in, and we just saw a big influx of individuals, and there we are positive and climbing as the music gets kind of sad at an exciting moment. Let's pick it back up. We're in the positives. At this point, we're pretty satisfied with that build, so we transition over to the detailing that we were talking about. We're going to start detailing the parking lot for the fire department and police station and get that built out and complete in this episode. As you see, the first thing we're doing is we're removing some of the existing parking lots or parking spaces in the police station. I don't want them parking there. I want them to park in the custom parking lot that we created. And at this point, things are feeling really familiar to me. I'm getting back to the detailing, struggling with some of these parking lot assets where they kind of curve and you have to kind of manipulate the roads. Again, I'm starting to question this style of parking lots. Like I mentioned earlier, we're gonna get some more assets that fit my game style. I do like the way these parking spaces look. They're really easy to detail, but I don't think we want the whole city with a single style of a parking lot. So we'll see in the next few episodes what we come up with and how we adjust to that. So the next moment here is we flatten out the ground. We want to make sure these buildings are nice and flush with the landscape or the terrain, to have these buildings look nice and flat with the land. On to more detail in here. We're finishing up this parking lot area for the police station and fire department. Adding in a little bit of a tree and then some flowers around this little area that when I covered up with concrete just didn't look good. So I decided, well, you know, let's leave it natural. Let's leave some nice, beautiful flowers there for people to see as they come to work at the fire department. And then we start detailing and ruining, as I like to say, our parking lot here. And this is my favorite asset. This decal here just makes roads look ruined so cleanly. It looks like it belongs there. It looks natural. And then we kind of play around with some of the tire tracks and make those all look like this parking lot's been used a lot, even though I don't think a single person parks in it during this episode. Eventually we'll add some more buildings around this area. Oh, there's 2 cars there. Look at me lying. But that'll get us a little bit more realistic feeling once we get this area more populated with more buildings and kind of, I was gonna say densify, but that's not a word. We'll make the area more dense with more commercial probably in this area in later episodes. But a lot of the same, a lot of rinse and repeat. I'm gonna let this little time lapse play out and let you enjoy some of the detailing without hearing my voice. All right, we're back. At least I'm back talking. We never really went anywhere. But yeah, so here this is where we start to come to the conclusion that we're missing the ploppable parking lots. I don't like these ones. These are the only ones that I have. They don't really fit the style that I wanted. I want the ones that are actual buildings that snap right up against the road. You'll see what I mean in the next episode. So in this time lapse, we do add a couple of the customized parking lots to give the feel and go the direction that we wanted to go with this build. And so I would say it gets to about 25 to 30% complete by the time this episode's over. again, we'll revisit this at the very beginning of the next episode and finish it out. I do think you get an idea of where I'm going with this industry, though, with the rest of this build. I'm excited about it. I like where it's going. I'm enjoying City Skylines again. That's what's important to me. Every once in a while, I put in a song into these videos that makes me really confused on when to come in and start talking. As I was watching the playback, thinking about what to say next, I couldn't find a good time to jump in. But what I did want to mention is, we're back from this break. One of the things that really burnt me out is I was looking at statistics, I was looking at growth, and the growth was awesome while we were doing a lot of videos. But I spent way too much time in Google Analytics or YouTube Analytics looking at that every day, trying to figure out, what's doing good on this video, what's doing good on that one, when should I talk, is my editing getting better and people are noticing it so it's bringing people back. Honestly, we're done thinking that way. We're making some videos. I want to know. I don't want to know. I want to make videos that I enjoy. And I was getting to the point where I wanted to hit that 1,000 sub. I want to get to 1,000 sub because then you get to monetize. None of that's really important to me. Building really cool cities, having fun, playing video games that I enjoy is what we're going to do moving on. No clickbait, no special effects, just the things that we enjoy. Just some cool city building for however many people to watch. And one of the things I really want to keep in mind is when you start looking at these numbers, you start comparing yourself to other YouTubers, you start getting stressed out about, man, why am I only getting 100 to 200 views per video? And then you forget 100 to 200 people, that's a lot of people. Just because it's not 15,000 or 100,000 like some other YouTubers doesn't mean it's not a lot of people. And I forgot about you kind of think to yourself, did you forget about, I don't want to call them little people, but the first people, the beginning people that got you somewhat noticed on a platform? Because 100 to 200 people, that's a ton of people. We have one video at 6,000 views. That's a lot of people. So I'm done looking at those stats on a daily basis. I am going to use it to kind of help me a little bit with some of the decisions that I make in these videos, but I appreciate everyone that checks out this video, that are 23 minutes into it. Thank you so much. I hope you get some inspiration from it, not necessarily learn anything from me, but the way I think about it is I inspire people to build things that they enjoy building, and it kind of refreshes that enjoyment of the game and gets them excited to go build something. Maybe they're like, I want to build something just like Socks did, or I want to build something, even if you're like, I think I could do a similar build, but even better. That's kind of what I want people to get out of these videos. I want them to, come here, enjoy some City Skylines content, and then go make their own. And so at this point, this is when I really realized I wanted those parking spaces, or those ploppable parking lots. And so I just do some of the ruining and detailing, and I found these different colors of piles of dust and things. I don't know exactly what they are, but I thought it popped to the eye a little bit. So we went ahead and threw those in there, and we really that's what we're gonna do for this episode, is just kind of finish ruining this concrete, get this area complete as far as the concrete ruining detail, and then next episode we'll finish with some of the actual, more fencing, more props, more parking slots, and make this industry area complete and move on with our lives after that to the next area in what is this city called? Lake Sockside. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining the return of Lake Sockside, kind of the return of Socksway Up on City Skylines. We're just going to do a little overview flyovers of the areas we built in this episode to kind of recap. We got our budget under control. The city's in the positive. The city's needs are handled. And now it's time to just keep growing and progress this city into a larger town, or beyond a large town. Oh my goodness, beyond a small town and turn it into a large city. Silly socks. All right, the word of the day, we're going to keep that going. The word of the day is going to be needs, as we mentioned at the beginning of the episode. If you made it this far, I appreciate you. If you haven't liked the video already and subscribed to the channel, do that now. I mean, you're 27 minutes in, why not? And if you don't mind, plop that word of the day of the video into the comments. Needs. We're back. Thanks for joining. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll catch you on the next episode of Lake Sockside.